Yes, I know. I know. I know. I know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hold your applause. Good morning, you muffin munching muggles. Welcome to Fiction and Reality, where we help you, yes, you become the most devilishly gifted human you know you are, and that you know you always could be. Now, I know it's just eating away at your mind what it is today we'll be talking about. Well, don't you worry, your little head. I have the answers. Today we will be talking about freedom. Today we will be exploring how to attune freedom to your greatest desires. How to utilize it as a literary element that you can help use to move forward on progression of plot, as well as helping further shape and refine your characters. And even more, helping add a little flavor and spice to your novel by tapping into the potential for freedom to stir up a heaping brew of arrow flying, sword swiping, mace mauling conflict. Now, as always, we cannot venture to nowhere without at least knowing nowhere's name, which is nowhere? What is freedom, you ask? Well, my definition, which of course is the only definition, is the weight of a 10-ton anvil of subjugation bearing on your shoulders. Dissipate. State of not having to fear the lash of the whip, following the lash of your own words, of being able to act, think, and forge the infinite greenery of knowledge of your own accord, not remaining a slave to what the authority defines as a definitive truth. So, how do you most efficiently contour the jowls of freedom to your character? Let's peel back this frothy onion to give you a more intricate view. Here's my roadmap of the rocky trail of freedom. First things first, you must have the subjugated, a character that has been structured in assigning their own destiny, enacting their own will. Now, this can manifest in a multitude of ways. Understand that because a character is subjugated doesn't necessarily mean that they are being chained and bolted for some unjust reason. For example, let's take Loki from the MCU, who sought to take claim over planet Earth and act as its one and only sovereign regardless of how many lives were taken during his pursuit to sit upon the world's throne. I don't know about you, I think something like that is deserving of chains and bolts. Yes. Now, this archetype tends to rise to prominence near the resolution of the conquest of freedom. You know, the run-of-the-mill stuff, electricity, executions, hangings, death by 1,000 cuts, 1,000,000 arrows, and firing squads. More beard stroking, enveloping, and gray route that you may want to take with your character appeals to conquest and a journey for freedom. That is that they've had their sovereignty siphoned away, their voice muffled, and all rhyme of reason snuffed out, be it just or unjust. But that's also an issue. Who is it that decides what is just and what isn't just? That would be the one who wields the power and fear to shut down the opposition. Dynamic characters are all the rave of today and yesterday. But what truly makes a character unique is if you can manage to never have them stray from their ideologies, values, all while maintaining consistency. Kratos. Yes, he has committed a few small atrocities of his own. Once a bloodthirsty warrior slaughtering a whole pantheon of Greek gods, succumbing to his own wrath and rage, he finds himself, after being a slave to his own rage, living in another pantheon, beginning a redemption arc of his own. He fights both an internal and external struggle for freedom, as the wife he had claimed on his journey inspired him to pursue a path of peace and to displace impulsivity with love. A golden nugget that I found through my own writing journey to wielding this trope. The true conflict and meat of this story writing element lies in the duality of subjugating forces. To have conflict that is both external and internal, like Kratos, who fights internally to preserve his newly assumed role of the peace-wandering sage, biding the image so that his son will follow in his footsteps and not become what he fears most, the mirror image of his past self, and who externally wrangles with blood, sweat, and tears to keep the Norse gods from hunting him and his son down for being blights who have no place in their realm. Have your character bucking and ramming not just the outside forces or the serpent-haired tyrant, but questioning the choices they must make, dissecting the intricate battles they must fight within themselves to ultimately come to a decision about what it is they are willing to compromise on in the path to unshackle themselves from a proverbial and immediate burden. And of course, as always, there's Katniss. Katniss, who takes on the struggles having to kill and take the lives of human beings in the name of freedom and sovereignty, all while taking the mantle of the Mockingjay, the mantle that ultimately led to the overthrowing and ousting of President Snow, and her ultimately freeing herself, at least externally, from the gavel of the Capitol. Now we've established that there must be the subjugated. We turn to the subjugator. The subjugator. Now what is the subjugator? Most would assign the role, of course, to the primary antagonist. And you wouldn't be wrong for doing this. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a little Emperor Palpatine action going on, you know what I mean? Ensnaring and trapping the galaxy through fear and manipulation and military might, and using the Sith's dark side abilities to control and crush the opposition. Or Brainiac, who completely and sadistically absorbed with collecting civilizations and putting them on his shelf like snow globes. They are a simple way to embody the vestige of immorality. A subjugator should serve as an obstacle to your character's pursuit of freedom, constantly kicking and tossing barrels at them with each link of subjugation that shatters and each limb they free. But these characters should also have wills of their own, ideals of their own. And the key is to have the subjugator and the subjugated destined to have these dispositions clash in clouds of smoke and fire. Whatever form that manifests in, of course, is your decision. It is your book, right? Right? To be truthful, there's not much to this basket of bananas. But if I may add, the subjugator can also be a system, one that is convoluted and so complex that the role of the tyrant becomes diffuse, and the people conspire to enslave and entrap a group that is self-designated to be lesser than and a blight upon their society and a greater cause. I'm sure you've read about these things in history books. You know, Stalin and his Red Army of militants, Adolf and his legion of Nazis, both of them manipulating the minds of their followers by weaponizing the dream of a grander future and establishing and designating a common enemy for their people to vanquish and inform upon. So let's take a recap. The roadmap of freedom consists of the subjugated, who with their own ideologies, values, may be called to question their established code of morals and ethics, even to the point of scything the red tape or crossing a point of no return, compromising what they previously held as sanctity. This constitutes their tumultuous and treacherous journey to achieve freedom. Along their journey, they should be met with either a system or individual serving as a subjugator. Their journey is not necessarily a journey to achieve freedom for themselves, though it may be adopted from their perspective. But if they have power over the subjugated to maintain continuity in enacting their will over those they perceive as an imminent danger to a righteous cause, whether it be them relishing in their own assertion of dominance, they are, in nature, the ones whose primary goal is to defeat and enslave at whatever capacity the subjugated. Their code of morals and ideologies conflicts will be bred by both the subjugated and subjugator, which can manifest in whatever medium you so choose. Also, remember that both the subjugated and subjugator, in addition to their own conflict bred by diverging ideologies and clashing values, should have some internal and external conflict that they each themselves are always sort of fluctuating in limbo with. The conflict between the parties will of course thread its way towards resolution of a conglomerate of outcomes, for which I'll map 3. 1. The subjugated obtains freedom by uprooting the subjugator. 2. The subjugator maintains a grip on the subjugated's reins. Or 3. Both who are locked in a struggle to maintain dominion and continuity of their own spectrum of morals end up floundering and with nothing, and ultimately in the end end up destroying each other. As I always say, make sure to really hone in and focus on introspection and the why. The reason why each system or individual is striving to oppress, subjugate, or break free. Well, so there you have it. Get your butt out there, pike your flagpole high on a hill, and get the writing. If you found this video to be somewhat helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll leave some community handles in a comment below in the video. There will be a lot more videos to come with this channel. Also, feel free to give me any ideas or opinions on topics that you want to share. With that, remember, if ever you're lost in the forestry of words, strip your mind from fantasy and look to the window of the world. There, your mind will run free.